Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. For the part 10 of the series What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World, there are two versions. One is just the text-to-speech, regular, version, and the other is with the songs, alternative, version. Now I need to know which version should I use going forwards. As such, just like for everything else, I would like your opinion on whether I should continue with regular version or the alternative version. I have created a poll for this, so please vote in it and let me know which version we should use going forward. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 46, Concert Starts. Part 1. Third-party POV. Loud tempting music, mingling of bodies in the rave, and promiscuous people being devils in disguise trying to lead you astray. I'm sorry, Jacob, for my lacking enthusiasm for this concert. You've tricked your dad into going, Mrs. Green said with a nagging tone. The Green family had received the tickets for the concert. After some begging, crying, and even pulling the puppy dog eyes, in an epic combination of all of the above, Mrs. Green finally allowed her family to go to the concert, but in return they would get extra sermons from the Christian mother and join her for a confession after that. The Viking-style Mr. Green snorted as he heard the sermon, making Mrs. Green glared at him and said, "What? Nothing. I guess you've forgotten the things we did while we were young," Mr. Green said as he remembered the good times with his wife and a nudist rave back in the 80s. Shut up. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm trying to prevent our son from falling into. Mrs. Green angrily turned her head toward the backseat of the car and growled at Jacob. Don't get too close with her. Move away, she said while aggressively gesturing to Jacob to move further away from Elsa, who was sitting beside him. Mom! Stop. You're embarrassing me in front of my girlfriend. Jacob leaned forward and whispered to his mother in a begging tone. Humph. You're still too young to have a girlfriend, she snorted. Then, she turned her face to Elsa while wearing a kind expression and said, I don't hate you, dear. I'm just saying that Jacob is too immature to have a girlfriend. And a pretty girl like you would need to have a lot of patience to even begin to deal with him. With a determined expression, Elsa pumped her fist in the air while saying, I'll do my best, Mrs. Green. Please. Call me Kitty, Mrs. Green said happily as she wanted to have at least one daughter coming out of her womb, but fate has it she only gave birth to 3 boys. Now, she has had 2 girls with her that sprayed a little bit of color in her dull life. What about me, Mrs. Green? Am I not pretty too? Jenna asked sulkily as she had hitched a ride with the Greens family along with her best friend. She was sitting behind the driver, Elsa sitting in the middle, and Jacob was sitting behind Mrs. Green. Of course, Jenna. I like you the most among all of Jacob's friends as you're the only one who went to a Catholic school before. Mrs. Green smiled sincerely as she comforted the sulking Jenna. Finally, Jenna laughed after Mrs. Green's comment. Jacob and Elsa looked at each other in confusion, and were communicating using their eyes. Both were confused when they heard Mrs. Green's statement, but they didn't think to expose Jenna's blatant lie to the Catholic mother as it was helping their case right now. If a whore wants to pretend to be a Catholic girl, then I should support her, Elsa thought secretly. Jenna didn't have much experience in going on family trips. In fact, she had no experience at all. All the vacations she had with her mother were just business trips, so this was actually a first for her. But right now, she was super happy and having so much fun traveling with the Greens family that it made her feel a bit jealous that Jacob had such a loving family. When she told her mom about going to a concert right after Jacob shared about the event and got the ticket for both her and Elsa, her mom just designated a few bodyguards to go with her instead of going to the concert herself. Her mom said she had a meeting with some producers, which Jenna knew was just a euphemism for doing it. Therefore, she was feeling a bit sulky for a few days with her mother and decided to hitch a ride with the Greens instead of going alone. Still, Edward didn't think to invite us, huh? I guess we're not even considered as one of his friends. Jenna muttered sadly as she looked at the clear blue sky on their way to Santa Barbara. Well, he kinda forgot to invite me too, Jacob said while scratching his cheek, causing both Elsa and Jenna to turn their faces to him in confusion. What do you mean? Elsa asked. Jacob avoided the girl's gaze and said, I texted him when he didn't come to school on Thursday. He told me that he's preparing for the concert. And then he asked me if I had already gotten the ticket. I was confused by that, so I told him he didn't tell me anything about it, and he said, and I quote, I forgot to tell you. So he just forgot about it? Elsa asked, but Jenna was unconvinced and said sulkily, he still didn't invite us though. Although she was deeply worried when Edward didn't attend the school, especially after the party, she didn't have his phone number, therefore she couldn't ask him about it. He told me to invite, and I quote again, the two troublemakers who can't shut their mouth. So I guessed he was referring to you both and gave you the tickets. Jacob explained. Jenna widened her eyes, leaned forward to Jacob while pushing her chest onto Elsa's face, burying her friend inside of it, and asked excitedly, did he really ask you to invite us? I think so. Jacob answered, flabbergasted with a red face as Jenna was too close. Elsa got annoyed by his reaction and decided to bite Jenna's chest that was dangling in front of her mouth. Ouch. Jenna returned to her spot after she got bitten. What are you doing, you toddler? Elsa hugged Jacob's hand and said menacingly, he's mine. Back off. Bad, Jacob. Bad. Mrs. Green sprayed water into Jacob's face using a water spray bottle as he was touching his girlfriend. I'm not the one who did it. Jacob objected pitifully as he was drenched in holy water. Bad. Mrs. Green sprayed his face once more as he dared to talk back to his mother. Edward POV. Phew, I can't help but feel a little bit nervous, I muttered as I reached the concert venue with my dad. I walked a bit farther from the car park and jumped and stood on the 1-meter-tall brick wall to scout the venue with my eyes. Luckily I was wearing a simple red tracksuit and hadn't changed into my performance outfits yet, so I could be a little roguish. The concert would be an open-field concert, taking place at Santa Barbara Bowl Amphitheater that could house almost 5,000 people. As performers for today, we could park the car directly at the empty concert venue as we need to make the last preparations there. My heart is going, dup 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 dup, with my right hand feeling the heartbeat on my chest. I had an expectant smile on my face as I imagined the empty seats in front of the stage being filled today. Taking out the luggages from the trunk of the car, my dad, who was wearing a tight gray shirt and black jeans, said, it'd actually be more weird if you didn't feel nervous. Are you feeling okay? Do you want to take some anxiety pills? He slammed the trunk of the car after and pulled the two luggages, one in each hand, to where I was standing. His arm muscles were prominent, and his belly fat had decreased a little bit as I kept making him healthy food ever since I got my adult memories. Right now he looked more like a retired bodyguard than a father with a dad bod. Nah, I'm fine, Mr. Stagehand, I said as I jumped down from the wall and landed on my feet lightly. It is exhilaration instead of anxiety. Ted broke into a soft smile and said, "You're really okay, huh? Even before, you would be quaking in your boots every time before you started performing." I pointed my index finger at my dad and said, "That was classical music. This is pop music. I don't have to please some snobbish idiots here, so I can be more free and do my own music instead of following the scoresheet." Ted smirked and said, "Aren't you a snob too?" Throwing my right hand to the side lazily, I said, "That's all in the past. I'm an easygoing guy now. Come on, let's go in. I don't want to be late. We're an hour early." "How could we be late?" Dad snorted derisively as he heard it. "It's better to be early than to be late. It's better to be the one waiting for the people instead of them waiting for us," I muttered. Ted was confused and asked, "Who told you that?" Pausing for a moment, I said, "A grandmother that I used to know." As I walked toward the backstage, I couldn't help but reminiscing about my time as a classical music performer. The taunts of the defeated participants of the competition rang clear inside my mind. "Did you hear? Newgate got the first prize again. Disgusting, does he have no other life than playing instruments?" The ugly remarks from snobbish adults that hid their venom behind a smiling mask. Why don't you rest for a year? You're already a great performer. Why do you need to enter every single competition? The criticism and scorn of the judges and juries that nitpick on every single thing I did. Not smooth enough. Not impactful enough. Bury your emotion, you only need to follow the score. Why can't you understand that? You perform really well, but your facial expression was too happy for a sad arrangement, therefore I will deduct your mark for that. It was as if I was a machine instead of a human being. From the moment I took the instruments at the age of 5, till the age of 12, my initial excitement in the field of performance art died down slowly. Rather than having fun, it becomes a job to do instead. To keep my reputation intact. To keep my parents happy. Life was really shitty back then. Why can't you do this? You could do this before. I remember mother yelling as I made a mistake on a simple musical arrangement again. Without me realizing it, my fingers were shivering as I recalled the memories. Just do what I told you to do. She constantly ignored my apprehension on practicing, and forced me to practice for hours on end, making it torturous for me to pass the day. I was just a child. I thought as I balled up my hand into a fist, gripping it tightly as I tried to push the thoughts away. All those experiences made me develop a deep hatred for classical music to such a point that any association with it would trigger feelings of fear and anxiety. The relentless pursuit for perfection was too much for my young mind to take. Maybe it would have been better if I never held a violin in my life. That was the last thought I had, a second before I fainted in the middle of the stage. Taking a deep breath as I held the doorknob, I couldn't help but hesitate to walk in. Performing is fun right now, but will it continue to stay the same way after I walk through this door? If the life I'm pursuing right now is similar to my life in the past, then why the hell am I here? Just to put myself into that misery once more? Dark thoughts couldn't help but bubble up inside my mind. Standing behind me, Dad seemed to notice my internal struggle. Putting his hand on my shoulder, he said, "It's good that you're more cautious." Turning my head toward him, I asked in confusion, "What?" "It means you're now more mature. I don't know what will happen when you walk through that door, or what your future will be when you decide to become an artist. But, whatever happens, remember. You can always count on me to have your back." He turned the doorknob for me, and the dark hallways within my memory were illuminated and replaced with the sight I was looking at right now as the door was opened. "Oh, the star is here!" Kaya and Anna shouted in excitement as they noticed me coming into the amphitheater. "Eddie, he's drinking beer now." A young, 25-year-old black guitarist named Ken with his hair tied up in a bun pointed at the drummer beside him. "Shit. He told me to." The drummer, a 20-year-old white dude with tattoos-filled arms named McGee, tried to fight the guitarist for setting him up. The keyboardist, a 18-year-old Asian girl with straight bangs on her shoulder-length hair named Jess, gazed expressionlessly at me, then she waved shyly before running away from any sorts of eye contact with people. The bassist and stage conductor were bickering, not because of faulty mishaps, but because they were longtime friends. Just wait till you see his performance," Johnson, the old bassist, said. "Like hell I will swoon. After Bieber, all sorts of people are popping out right now." The stage conductor, Mr. Killington, said. "Believe me, that kid is better than that brat." Johnson slapped the conductor's back extremely hard as he said that. "You fuck dash." Mr. Killington's eyes were teary from the pain and tried to rub his back with both of his hands. Johnson finally saw me and shouted, "Hey! The genius is here." The cheerful atmosphere backstage instantly drowned out any of the bad memories I had in the past, and I couldn't help but smile a little. "Thanks, Dad," I said as I walked inside. "Anytime, son," Dad said as he followed me from behind. 2:30 p.m. The crowd started to enter the venue, and thousands of seats were being filled slowly. "Ed." Phil opened the door suddenly, startling me and the hairdresser who was focusing before this. He ran toward me as I was getting my hair ready at the vanity set, a dressing table with light bulbs on the edge of it. The female, Latina makeup artist and hairdresser was glaring at Phil, however he had no idea why she was irritated as he entered. "Phil. Slow down. I heard Claire's voice from afar when Phil entered the dressing room. Not turning back, I used the mirror to look at Phil. Hey, nice shirt. I was touched as I saw the shirt design made specially for me. Did Jay make it? I asked. You guessed it right. Phil said and walked closer to where I was sitting. Did Alex tell you? Nah. I'm Sherlock, remember? I said playfully as the hairdresser sprayed some stuff onto my hair and trimmed the edge of it to make it look neater. Are you nervous? Phil asked. A little bit now that people are starting to gather. I replied. Without looking at him, I asked, is Abby coming backstage? No. She and Haley are currently sitting at the VIP seats. Phil answered. Good. I said with a smile. Claire suddenly walked in after talking to my dad for a while and said, why were you insisting that she came here anyway? Aren't you guys broken up? Ouch. I exclaimed flatly as I heard her. Claire, be more careful. He's a 14-year-old boy. It's a sensitive time for them. He's not a normal 14 years old. Claire said and approached me before she asked again, are you going to answer my question or not? Contemplating for a while, I decided to tell Claire the truth. Well, although I had written a few songs before this, Abby was the one who encouraged me to go find a band, or go sing in public. She was the one who encouraged me to return to the stage. I would never be here if it wasn't for her. And after I went to audition for a band, I cursed the mothers of the entire band member there and even their girlfriends before I decided to not enter the music industry ever again. Then, everything changed after I got my memories from my past life. Claire and Phil looked at each other before Claire broke the silence. I didn't expect that. I thought you were getting her here to seduce her back. Shrugging my shoulders, I said, maybe that too. Who knows? Mitchell, Cam, Gloria, Jay, Manny, Luke, Alex, Haley came to give me words of encouragement one by one, but to be honest I was tuning them all out. Not because I was unhappy to see them, but as the time drew closer, my nerves became high-strung. Hey, good luck out there. Haley said as the last visitor. Her doe eyes were strangely calming me down, which then weirded me out. Thank you, Haley. I said as I stood up from the chair and looked her in the eyes. I really appreciate you coming here even though I know you don't like me that much right now. Haley's eyes shook and she said, anyway, just because Abby is my friend doesn't mean I will stop being friends with you. She hit my arm and said, break a leg. That's something terrible to wish for another person. I said as I pretended to be horrified. No. That what people say before a performance. Haley explained herself immediately. I couldn't keep a straight face and laughed, making Haley feel extremely embarrassed by her overreaction. Jerk! She said and stomped away angrily to get back to the VIP seat. Phew! I let out a long sigh as there were only 15 minutes left before my performance. Finally, I finished my makeover and changed into the outfit I created on my own. A black leather jacket with white-colored, graffiti-like patterns strewn all over, black jeans and black shoes, a wolf chain on my neck and a white undershirt. Damn, you look good. Kaya said as she saw me when I had finished getting ready. Thanks, this would look way better if I got some tattoos though. I said as I was feeling proud of my design. No tattoos. Pepper suddenly appeared out of nowhere and admonished me. Outside, the MC had started to hype the crowd up, and the university representatives were giving a speech before the concert started. Half of the crowd was from California University and the other half were Taylor's fans. Don't worry, when you are performing next time, I'm sure that the crowd will go there for you. I'm sure of it. Pepper gave me his words of encouragement as he stayed beside me with my dad after the backstage visitations ended. Nodding at his words, I looked around and saw the dancers with ashen faces. I walked right up to them and asked, "Where's Taylor? Her award show is running late. She won't be able to arrive on time." Kaya explained. Oh damn! I exclaimed unconsciously as I heard that. Suddenly, the stage conductor rushed to me and Pepper. "Hey, you must already know by now, right? That tailor is running late, Mr. Killington said with huffing breath. Yeah. Can you extend your show for another 10 minutes? She is rushing here right now, but she won't be able to come on time. That's impossible, Mr. Killington. You can't just spry this matter on him at the last minute. This is highly irresponsible and unprofessional behavior. Pepper got mad instantly as he was trying to protect me and calm my nerves before my first debut. Pausing to think, I then said, "It's okay, Pepper. I think I can add one more song, but that's it." Grabbing my hand suddenly, Mr. Killington shook it up and down vigorously while saying, "Thank you, Mr. Newgate." "Ed, you don't have to do this," Pepper said hurriedly. "Nah, it's all right. I want to do it. Who knows when I will get a chance to perform again, with school and all that," I said with a confident look on my face that stopped Pepper from saying anything else. He glared at the stage conductor and said, "I'll expect him to get additional payment for this." "Oh, of course." Finally, the band and I walked to the stage and set up behind the curtain as the MC was hyping the crowd. The first performer for today, a YouTube sensation with 5 million views on his songs in less than a month. Give it up for Edward Newgate. Take a deep breath. You got this. The curtain was lifted and I was finally standing in front of the crowd of 5,000 people. Thunderous applause and cheers from the crowd sounded the moment I appeared on the stage, as they had been waiting for over an hour for the concert to start. At the center of the stage, while grabbing the microphone on the mic stand with my right hand while the other was holding onto the red, electric guitar, I took a deep breath and started singing immediately after I was introduced. Rixton, Me and My Broken Heart. Without any musical accompaniment, I used only my vocals to draw people in. All I need's a little love in my life. All I need's a little love in the dark. A little, but I'm hoping it might kickstart me and my broken heart. The crowd was stunned by the sudden start of the performance and was immediately hooked on the show. The murmurs were forcefully stopped and the band started playing softly. I need a little loving tonight, hold me so I'm not falling apart, a little, but I'm hoping it might kickstart me and my broken heart. Oh my God, he's awesome. A random crowd member shouted. Haley and Abby were looking at each other before they muttered at the same time, "Yeah, he's awesome." Finally, the nervousness I had before the performance disappeared as I saw the crowd's reaction. Yeah. My eyes searched for my own fans, the Modern family members and my friends. I could see Abby and Haley looking at me with glittering eyes, so I winked at them. Then, the song's rhythms changed. Shotgun, aimed at my heart, you got one. Tear me apart in this song. How do we call this love? Band member, whoa oh oh oh. I tried to run away but your eyes tell me to stay, oh why do we call this love? Whoa oh oh oh. Wait. Is this song about them? Haley widened her already big eyes and darted between Abby and Edward. Shut up, Haley. Abby said. I didn't say anything yet. Haley retorted. I can hear your brain thinking. Abby said. It seems like we've been losing control, somebody tell me I'm not alone. When I say, all I need's a little love in my life. All I need's a little love in the dark. A little, but I'm hoping it might kickstart me and my broken heart. I need a little loving tonight. Hold me so I'm not falling apart. A little, but I'm hoping it might kickstart me and my broken heart. Third person POV. Ted sighed and said out loud while leaning on the wall. You know you're the reason for his broken heart. A feminine voice replied to him from the other side of the wall, I know. Are you still not going to meet him? Ted asked. I want to, but not now. A woman in a floral dress and a red stiletto replied before walking away from the backstage. Ted let out a long sigh afterward before focusing on his son's performance once more. Maybe some part of you just hates me, you pick me up and play me, how do we call this love? Whoa oh oh oh. One time tell me you need me tonight. To make it easy, you lie, and say it's all for love, whoa. See? He knows. Tara said to Abby. Both of you, shut up. Abby warned both of her friends as they kept running their mouths. The song reached the climax and finally it reached the last verse. All I need's a little love in my life, baby. All I need's a little love in the dark. A little, but I'm hoping it might kickstart me and my broken heart. I need a little loving tonight. Hold me so I'm not falling apart. A little, but I'm hoping it might kickstart me and my broken heart. With some sweat on my forehead, finally I stopped playing the guitar and held the microphone once again. My charismatic face was shown on the huge screen at the side of the stage, displaying me catching my breath. The crowd cheered loudly as the first song was a huge success in attaining their interest. What's up, Santa Barbara? I greeted them using the microphone, and the crowd cheered explosively once more. Chapter 47, Concert, Part 2. Third-person POV. He's pretty cute, right? A blonde-haired college student whispered to her friend after the Edwards finished with his opening songs. Yeah. He is. Want to do it? Her brunette friend with skimpy clothes replied. Sure. The blonde said and rummaged her hands underneath her shirt, the same as what her friend was currently doing right now. You guys are going to do that here too? Their boyfriends asked in disbelief. Yup. Let us sit on your shoulders. The girls ordered. The boyfriends couldn't help but follow the girls' orders as they knew there wasn't anything they could say to change their minds. Suddenly, the singer, Edward, reminded something from the stage while the girls were. As I understand, I'm cute, which earned a lot of giggles from the female member of the crowd. I know some of you may feel the need to throw your undergarments on stage. I won't discourage you to do so, but if you want to do it, please aim it at the bodyguard down below so that it won't cause tripping hazards for the dancers. The two girls peeked at the sunglasses-wearing bodyguard nearby the stage who was pointed at by Edward. The bodyguard currently has a baffled expression of being betrayed and was trying to move away from the artist's finger that was pointed at him, but the finger was following him wherever he goes. That's my dad, by the way. Edward said to the crowd, earning a second wave of laughter from them. Ready? The blonde asked the brunette. Ready. The brunette replied. Then, both of them threw their bras toward Ted, earning the attention of the artist on stage. Edward turned to look at them, and they flashed him their chest the moment he laid eyes on them. Edward almost laughed after he saw the two pairs of titties being shaken vigorously for him. Now I feel more motivated to do the next song. The next songs are where you guys may know me from. 7 Years and Amnesia. Please enjoy yourself with the complete version of the song. Edward said. Sitting directly behind the VIP section, Elsa and Jacob were stunned as they saw the college student flashing their friend nearby. Luckily, Mrs. Green had gone to the toilet, therefore she missed it. Hey Jacob, can you raise me up? I want to do that too. Jenna said in excitement after she saw Edward's smiling face. Please don't do that in front of me. Suddenly, a stern feminine voice warned the trio from behind. Ha! Who the hell are you? Jenna turned to look at the source of the voice angrily, but then she was instantly humbled as she saw the lady. Mrs. Henderson! Jacob exclaimed in bewilderment as he saw their teacher there. Jenna quickly hid behind Elsa as among all the teachers in the school, Mrs. Henderson was the only one she wouldn't look down on. Yes. Mrs. Henderson replied monotonously. WWW, what are you doing here? Elsa asked carefully as she crossed her arms together. Taking out an air tube with Edward's and Taylor's name on it, Mrs. Henderson said, I'm a fan. Why won't I be here? At the VIP section. I'm glad. Claire said suddenly. Why? Jay asked her as he was the only one who could listen to her voice. He's aware that his heart is broken. That's the first step to heal himself. Claire explained. Jay exclaimed and said after a pause, the song was too edgy for my taste. Sitting in front of Jay and Claire was Phil, Cam, Mitchell, and Alex. Haley, Abby, Tara and Desire were sitting a few seats away from the rest. Complete version? Phil asked from the VVIP seat while waving an airstick with Edward's name on it. The YouTube video is the acoustic version with only him playing. Right now, he can perform the complete version. I had the honor to listen to it before. It's pretty great. Cam explained to Phil as he took pride in being known as the creative member of the family. Please. You had to beg Pepper to let you listen to it. Mitchell bursted Cam's ego bubble immediately. Shut up. I want to listen to him singing. Not your voice. Gloria said in irritation as they kept chattering away. Sorry, Gloria. Mitchell said. Anyway, he's really comfortable up there, isn't he? I would be horrified if I had to perform in front of this big a crowd. He added. Yeah. He's a natural. Cam said, and suddenly Alex laughed as the conversation was within her earshot, causing all the adults there to look at her. What's so funny, Alex? Claire asked in suspicion. And nothing. Alex replied anxiously as she knew she had exposed herself. What is it? Tell me. Phil begged with glittering eyes, causing Alex to give up trying to keep the secret. Natural. That's the name of his new song. Well, one of them. Alex confessed. The group widened their eyes in surprise after hearing why Alex laughed at the conversation. Really? Will he perform it here? Phil asked. I don't know that. I only know a few of his songs' names. Alex replied. Anyway, focus. He is singing the next one now. Jay suddenly spoke up as Edward was going to sing his favorite song now. Time passed and Edward had performed both 7 Years and Amnesia before he took a 5-minute break to drink some water. The MC took over the stage as Edward took a break. Edward POV. My session was split into 2 halves to allow me to take a breather in between songs, with a 10 minutes rest in between. It was a privilege for a young artist in the industry to take a break within songs, and I would surely take advantage of it. How long till she gets here? I asked the stage conductor as he came on stage to direct the next performance. We need to add another 10 minutes to the ETA as there are some accidents on the road. Mr. Killington replied. I sighed and I said, why don't you have the MC ask me some questions? It will help in dragging the time. In the original deal, I would be paid based on the number of songs I would play today. A total of 5 songs would earn the record label $50,000 from the organizer, which would be split 80-20 with me. Of course, Pepper wanted me to have a bigger part in that. The payment was quite low, but I didn't mind as it was something that all upstart artists would go through. Some may not even get paid at all. They mentioned an interview in their initial deal, but was rejected by Pepper as I didn't have any training in public speaking just yet. I also didn't bother to argue with Pepper as I thought I only needed to play my songs and get out of the way before Taylor stepped on the stage. Really? Can he do that? Are you prepared for an impromptu interview? Mr. Killington asked while being a bit concerned as an interview was a two-edged sword. It may help my career if conducted wisely, or it may kill it if I give the wrong answer that may offend some people. It's a bit unconventional to do this after you have already started singing, but I guess we don't have any other choice. I will ask you again, are you fine with it? It's okay. As long as he doesn't ask me for some personal information or political questions, I am confident that I can do it. However, please check with Pepper first before proceeding. I don't want him to get mad at me for being a loose cannon. I replied. Don't worry. He's listening to everything we're discussing right now, and he gave the okay for it. Mr. Killington replied while pointing at his headset. Pepper had a similar headset on his head and he gave me a thumbs up from afar. The stage conductor was connected to the MC for the show, therefore he currently had understood the whole situation. After a quick break, I walked back to the stage with the band to our instruments before the MC could get off the stage. But to the crowd's surprise, the MC walked to me, the artist, and asked me something akin to a paparazzi meeting an artist on the streets. Awesome performance, Edward. I'm sure that a lot of people in the crowd are curious about you right now, am I right, people? While communicating with the crowd below. The crowd cheered, and I could hear Phil's voice coming from the VIP stand saying, "What do you think about Phil?" But I only waved at him and didn't answer the question. Who's that? Is that your dad? The MC was curious as he heard the shout too. Of course, our whole conversation was using the microphone, therefore all the people there could hear it. Nah, my dad is the man covered in bras below. That's the neighborhood dad that I'm close with, and one of my biggest fans. Phil shouted, "You got that right," while Ted was giving me the side eye as he removed a still warm bra that was dangling from the top of his head. I laughed together with the MC before he asked me the first official question. How did you get the invitation to perform here today? Did Taylor see you on YouTube and decide to kick out some other band to let you play? What the hell is he doing? Mr. Killington asked in exasperation as he saw the MC's instigating questions. He specifically asked the actual loose cannon MC not to do that. This kind of insidious question was usually targeted to make me flustered for the crowd's enjoyment, but I couldn't be shaken with just that. It wasn't something that was done on purpose to humiliate me, but to help an upstart artist to create a long-lasting impression on the audience's mind. About the other band, they got into an accident as their brake wire was disconnected, or maybe someone cut it off, therefore they couldn't play today. Like you said, Taylor did see me on YouTube and sent me the invitation to play for today. The MC suddenly interjected, "What were you doing when you got the invitation?" I was playing with my dad's wire cutter at that time, and the crowd giggled at the joke and I couldn't keep a straight face anymore and laughed, causing the crowd to laugh together with me. Letting the laughter quieten down, I said, "In all honesty, I need to thank the organizer as they had invited me today. And Taylor too, because she has been very kind to me and helped me to get ready for my first performance." The first hurdle was cleared formally before the MC shot his next question. I think I spoke for a lot of the people in here when I said we want to know more about Edward. When did you first start to play an instrument? I first started playing at 1 or 2 years old. The crowd gasped in shock as they heard it. You know, the baby xylophone. I think I played Chopin using that one on my first birthday. I teased the crowd, causing some laughter here and there. The MC asked, "Are you releasing an album soon?" Yes. It'll be released early spring next year. Nice one. Free publicity. Pepper muttered backstage. Your first song is titled, "Me and My Broken Heart." Did you write it after you got your heart broken by someone? And, the most important question that the girls here would kill me if I don't ask, are you still single? The first part, "Me and My Broken Heart," as you guessed it, I did write it after getting my heart broken. In fact, I had just gotten dumped by my girlfriend recently. The crowd exclaimed, after I shared my news with a sad face. I guess, that also answered your second question. I am single right now. Haley and Tara snickered in their seats while they saw Abby's pouting expression. Our boy just got his heart broken. Is there anyone here that wants to help him heal his soul? The MC asked the crowd, which then they bursted into random volunteering to become my girlfriend. There's a lot of people here who want to become his girlfriend. Let's see if we can narrow down the list. What kind of girl is your type? Blonde? Brunettes? With a poker face, I answered, MILFs. Ah. The MC exclaimed in bewilderment while the crowd laughed after pausing for a minute to understand the joke. You're a funny guy. Last question. What is your aspiration for the future? The MC asked. Well, that's a tough one. If I have to answer what I'm going to do in the near future, then I will answer, going platinum with my album. But for the far future, I guess I want to be happy. That's all. The crowd exclaimed again. Then, I smirked and said, but for the moment, I guess I don't want to do anything, which brings me to my next song, The Lazy Song. Enjoy. The MC nodded and said to the crowd, please give a round of applause to the new singer that will take the world by storm, Amarst Edward Newgate. Putting my guitar aside, I only used the microphone to perform the next song. The dancers entered the stage and danced behind me as I stood at the center stage. Today I don't feel like doing anything. Band, whistle. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone. So leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. PFF. Jay couldn't help but let out a laugh after the first verse. Now this is a song a normal teenager would sing. He held Manny's shoulder as they enjoyed the song. I'm gonna kick my feet up then stare at the fan. Turn the TV on, throw my hand in my pants. Luke, close your ears. Claire said and hurriedly put her palm on Luke's ear to censor the song. Chill, Mom. I did it all the time. Luke replied innocently, causing Claire to widen her eyes in bafflement. Yeah, I did it too. Phil said, adding to Claire's shock. Nobody's gonna tell me I can't, nah. I sat at the edge of the stage, swaying my legs as I sang. I'll be lounging on the couch, just chilling in my snuggie. Click to MTV so they can teach me how to Dougie. 'Cause in my castle I'm the freaking man. True. Jay muttered. Oh, yes, I said it 'cause I can. I stood back up and waved at the crowd as I sang the chorus, which in my surprise, they followed along and sang the chorus together with me. Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone. So leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. Nothing at all. You guys are freaking great. I muttered, causing an explosive reaction from the crowd. Woo, woo, ooh. Nothing at all. Woo, woo, ooh. I stood next to Kaya and Anna before the next verse, swaying my body together with them. Tomorrow I'll wake up, do some P90X. Meet a really nice girl, have some really nice sex. Both of them covered my mouth to censor me, causing people like Claire to breathe in relief. Jenna waved excitedly as if wanting to volunteer herself as tribute, but Mrs. Henderson turned toward her, which caused her to hide again. And she's gonna scream out, "This is great, oh my god, this is great, yeah. I might mess around and get my college degree." Most of the college students there could relate to this song, and they couldn't help but wave their hands along to the rhythms. I bet my old man will be so proud of me. But sorry, Pops, you'll just have to wait. Ha ha ha. Do whatever you want. Dad muttered as he heard it. Oh, yes, I said it 'cause I can. Everybody. I called out to the crowd to invite them to sing together. Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone. So leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. Good job. I exclaimed as the sing-along was very addicting. No, I ain't gonna comb my hair. 'Cause I ain't going anywhere. No, oh. I'll just strut in my birthday suit. And let everything hang loose. Abby, Haley and Tara all blushed as they heard the verse while Alex scoffed at me. What kind of song is this? Gloria widened her eyes as she understood the sentence. I need to try that later. Manny said, earning a bewildered gaze from his mother. Jenna whispered to Jacob, does he always do that? How do I know? I don't live at his house. Jacob replied. Jenna's eyes suddenly twinkled in excitement, but then she returned her focus back on the show. Yeah. I walked to the VIP section and waved at my fans while performing. Even Abby waved back at me as she was swept along by the atmosphere. Oh, today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone. So leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything. Nothing at all. Woo, woo, ooh. Nothing at all. Woo, woo, ooh. Nothing at all. I sat at the edge of the stage lazily with Kaya and Anna, leaning my back on the dancer's body as the song ended. Explosive reactions came out of the college students there, some even repeating the word encore as I sat there, huffing my breath. That was really great, Ed. Kaya said as she wiped my forehead with a towel. Thanks. You did really well too. I said, then she laughed. I'm a dancer. I need to do well. But thanks anyway. She stood up and pulled my hand to help me stand before I walked to my guitar and picked it up again. Did you guys enjoy the song? I asked the crowd. Yes. Do you want to hear more? Yes. I can't hear you. Yes. Oh, who live in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants. EYY. A lot of people there were tricked, and it caused raucous laughter from the crowd. I guess a lot of us are from the same generation here. I teased them again, continuing the laughter. I was buying some time before the next song as symptoms of fatigue started to appear on my body. I turned to the stage conductor and he held a white paper on top of his head with the word 15 minutes written on it. So I need to buy 20 more minutes, huh? I muttered. Third person POV? Hurry up. We're really late now. Taylor said as she urged the driver to press the pedal faster. Suddenly, the co-writer tapped on Taylor's shoulder to get her attention. She turned to face the co-writer and asked, "What is it?" With some hesitation, the meek girl said, "So, apparently Edward is playing a game with the crowd." Narrowing her eyes, Taylor asked, "What kind of game?" "A game of whether he could create a new song on the spot or not." "He's doing what?" Chapter 48, Concert Game, Part 3. Edward POV. 20 minutes. So how will I pass the time? I thought as I saw the stage conductor time card. Suddenly, a light bulb lit up above my head as I got an idea. Not even the brilliant mind of Edward Newgate could actually know that a decision that I made in a second today would haunt me for such a long time in the future. "Oh, I know that look," Haley suddenly muttered from the audience seats. "What look?" Tara asked while intrigued. That was the same look he had before he created Photograph. Haley explained. Abby interjected, "Was that the time when he created a song in just a few minutes?" Haley turned toward my ex-girlfriend and said, "Yep." Turning my attention to the crowd, I said, "I have a confession to make." The crowd suddenly became silent as the tone of my voice was a solemn one. The award ceremony that Taylor was attending has run a little bit late, and she won't be able to get here in another 20 minutes. The crowd gasped and some booed when I said that. Even the organizers were frustrated as they thought it was a secret that needed to be kept. However, they grossly underestimated a fan's loyalty and adoration for their favorite artist. Therefore, they want me to play another song to drag the time. Is he fucking crazy? Mr. Killington asked in astonishment and anger. The problem is, I have only one other song planned for this evening. I'm going to need your help if I need to play another song, I said, making the crowd greatly confused by the sudden request. Instead of me deciding what song I'm going to play today, you guys will. I smirked at the crowd, causing them to exclaim in awe. We'll decide what that will be using a game. You may shout out title words for me about the songs you want me to play. Or just random words. It's up to you. If one of the random words is in my future album list, I will debut it here. The crowd cheered as I said that. At this moment, little did I know that almost 1/5 of the crowd here had become my true fans and the rest of them were really close to falling to my charms. And another thing, I added, causing the crowd to feel quiet again. If the word resonated with me, maybe, just maybe, I will create a song on the spot based on the idea I get from that keyword. The entire crowd fell silent for a minute before they exploded into thunderous questioning such as, "Is it true? Will you really?" and so on. Their enthusiasm almost made me shrink back down, but I laughed the nerves away and said, "Yes. It's true. For my own safety, I won't tell you if the song is from my album, or I just created this on the spot. Do we have a deal?" At the audience seat, Phil asked, "Why for his safety?" Cam explained, "To make sure people won't try to claim it or sue for credit." I see. So he's doing a very dangerous thing right now? Phil asked. Yup. I'm making sure Pepper calls Harvey so that she can get started on the copyright for any new song instantly. Mitchell added and called Harvey immediately. Luckily, the lawyer had a ticket and was at the concert at that very moment, standing backstage near Pepper. What do we do? Should we stop him? Harvey asked Pepper. Pepper gave her a side eye and said, "Harvey, If you're going to work here for a long time, I suggest you adapt to the current situation as soon as possible, as this is not the first or last time he would do such a thing. Not that this is a threat, but if you can't keep up with him, then you will leave me no choice but to let you go. Why should I adapt to this? Harvey asked, as she didn't mind Pepper's last remark at all. In fact, she felt that the condition was fair. 'Cause we will never stop him from doing what he wants to do, except when it's truly harmful for him. After all, copyright claims are just a small nuisance, right? Pepper said with a smirk, as he knew it would lit up a fire inside the woman's heart. That's true. Harvey replied, as she believed in her capabilities to tear apart any false claim for the song. Believe me, this won't be the last time you'll need to do it. Do you know how long he took to create the song's photograph and Me and My Broken Heart? Pepper finally turned his head entirely, locked eyes with Harvey, and said with a smirk, less than 5 minutes. Harvey was shaken to her core as she heard that, not to mention the eavesdropping stage conductor Mr. Killington and the dancers who had heard everything the duo was saying from the start. Wait, seriously? Kaya exclaimed in wonder. Dang. He's really a prodigy, huh? No wonder. Anna added to Kaya's awe. As the clamoring died down, I said, the audience seat is divided into 10 sections. So every section will get one chance to do it. Just walk up to the mic set up for the cue in a session with Taylor after this and shout out your word. We'll start with the last one from the right, section J. I said, and pointed at the edge of the concert hall. As half of the crowd today consisted of college students, it was easy for me to do an audience participation, as their mind was more open than the general audience. The staff was suddenly busy with my sudden game, and they led the first participant for today to the microphone. A geeky, glasses-wearing white girl with blonde hair and sweater vest tapped the microphone to make sure it was on before she said, "Hi Edward. I really like your songs. Are you really serious about creating them on the spot?" Some people laughed at the girl's nervousness, but my smiling face calmed her down. Yes. I am. What's your name? L. Lily. What a nice name. I said, and the crowd teasingly exclaimed, "You," as they saw me flirt. Ignoring all of them, Lily said, "I wonder if you can do a song with the word fairy tale?" Why that word? I asked. She pushed the side of her glasses up and said, "I never heard a song about that before." Then I guess you'll love Taylor's next album. Oops, did I spoil it for you? I said with calculated mistakes, causing the crowd to explode in cheers once more. I will consider your keyword for my next album, beautiful Miss Lily. However, I cannot do it today, I said, earning a disappointed exclamation from the crowd. Section 1 representatives, please come to the mic. The staff member said to the young man in Section I. We talked a bit before he told me his keyword. My word is superhero. Superhero? I said, and started to think. Who is your favorite superhero, Mr. Jensen? Of course it's Batman. No. It's Spider-Man. Jensen said after thinking deeply about the topic. Then, I suddenly get an idea inside my mind. It wasn't a song that I had heard before in my previous life, but an idea that suddenly burst out inside my mind. Damn Newgate. What monstrous talent! I thought as I rearranged the musical notes and lyrics inside my mind. Wait. I think I got something, but I will combine it with Miss Lily's keyword before. I don't mind. The song is yours. Jensen replied to the microphone. I nodded and said to the entire crowd, but I didn't have the capability to create the entire song here yet. So I will just play a snippet for the song. Is that okay? Yes. The crowd replied in excitement, wondering if my talent was really true, or I was just a kid with an overblown ego that needed some humiliation in my life before I would be humble. Picking the guitar strings on my red guitar, I muttered, "Wait. I need to create the melody first." About 20 seconds after I played some random melody, I said, "Okay. I'm ready." He's a very crazy kid. Jay muttered as his heart couldn't help but beat quicker as I took a deep breath. Something just like this Coldplay. I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Hercules and his gifts, Spider-Man's control, and Batman with his fists, and clearly, I don't see myself upon that list. Holy shit! Jensen exclaimed while goosebumps appeared on his skin. Even Jay got goosebumps as he heard it. Son of a gun! Jay exclaimed. But she said, where'd you want to go? How much you want to risk? I'm not looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss, just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this. Lily widened her eyes as she heard it and couldn't help but shout, I love you, Edward. Do do do, do do do. Do do do, do, do do. Do do do, do do do. And that's it, I said as I finished the snippet of my new song. The crowd was silent as they needed to process what just happened. Yaha! They exploded into thunderous applause as they couldn't help but acknowledge my talent. I chuckled slightly and raised my hand up to calm the crowd down. At this moment, the entire crowd had become the puppet controlled by my strings, just waiting for me to dictate their next reactions. I haven't kept my promise to perform a full song yet. So Section H. Please give me your keyword. However, not all of the people who gave me the keyword were of sound mind. Section H, mummy. Section G, milk. Section F, useless. Section E, meat. Section D, somebody. Finally, it was Section C, and I managed to waste 15 minutes of the time needed to waste before I performed my last song. The representative for Section C was unexpectedly a young kid of barely 9 years old. What's your name? I asked. Louis. The kid replied shyly. And what word did you have in mind, Louis? I asked. It's worthless. My mind was stunned as I heard his keyword. The random word had unexpectedly touched the soul of my past life that I couldn't help but have a hallucination that my adult self was saying the word to me. Are you okay? Louis asked as I seemed out of it. Pepper, my dad, and the family that I was close to also became concerned as my face turned ashen at this moment. While shaking my head, I said, I'm fine. May I know why the keyword comes to your mind, Louis? I asked him without mocking him. My uncle, before I was born, he committed suicide, he said. His life was worthless. I couldn't help but wonder about the keyword. I see, and if you could say something to him right now, what would that be? I asked. I guess I would want to know if there is something I could do about it. The young boy answered without any dishonesty in his words. I see, I said and fell into deep thought about the keyword and the situation. Louis. I suddenly called out to him. I guess today is your lucky day. Patting my upper left chest 2 times, I said, I will play something that would convey the feeling for people like us. Wait. Did you create a new song? Louis asked in astonishment. Holding my finger to my lip, I said, that's a secret. I walked toward the keyboardist while the crowd was murmuring amongst themselves and they couldn't help but to be looking forward to what I was going to do next. Jess. Can I borrow the keyboard? I asked the Asian girl. Sure. Jess said, and the band member helped me set up by bringing the keyboard to the center stage. I spoke to the crowd casually with my face focusing on the keyboard as I set it up. The minute I received the news about playing here today, my manager told me that I need to play some of my happier songs. But this song will hurt you guys and made you cry like a lil by Dash. Forcefully stopping myself, I turned to the crowd and said, for God, I can't curse today because the show is for the general audience. My act earned me some laughter from the crowd. I cracked my fingers before I said, enjoy the next song, titled, Before You Go. Before You Go, Louis Capaldi piano version. I fell by the wayside like everyone else. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, but I was just kidding myself. Every moment, I start to replace, cause now that they're gone, all I hear are the words that I needed to say. That kid really did it. Pepper sighed and turned to Harvey. Make sure to get ready. Okay. Don't worry. I will make sure to get the copyright for this song. Harvey said as she held her phone toward the stage. Did you hear that, Donna? Make sure to write every single lyric he sang. Harvey said to the person on call. "Don't disturb me then." Donna replied from the other line while accurately typing every word on the song. "When you hurt under the surface, like troubled water running cold, well, time can heal, but this won't." Abby was lost in the lyric, and tears pooled inside her eyes. Even Haley and Tara couldn't help but be emotional as they noticed my emotions while singing this song. "So, before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you had a storm to weather. If only we can turn back time, huh?" Jay muttered as he too was immersed in the song. "So, before you go, was there something I could have said to make it all stop hurting? It kills me how your mind can make you feel so worthless. So, before you go." Lewis was looking at me with glittering eyes before he muttered with tears on his face, "Awesome. He will hurt his throat if he continues singing like this," Cam said in concern. Claire's eyes shook as she heard Cam and couldn't help but wanted to stop me from singing. However, Phil said, "It's his way as an artist. He won't ever do things halfway." I know that the way I sing this song was creating a lot of pressure in my voice box, but I proceeded with it anyway. After the first chorus, the song slowed down. "Was never the right time, whenever you called, went little by little until there was nothing at all, or every moment, I start to replay, but all I can think about is seeing that look on your face." "Stop," Haley muttered as she was torn between stopping me or letting me continue as she saw Abby crouching down and broke down crying as she heard this song. "When you hurt under the surface, like troubled water running cold, well, time can heal, but this won't. So, before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you had a storm to weather. So, before you go, was there something I could have said to make it all stop hurting? It kills me how your mind can make you feel so worthless. So, before you go. Would we be better off by now? If I'd have let my walls come down. Maybe, I guess we'll never know, you know, ah. I slowed down the music and sang with a tone as if I was talking to a friend of mine. "Before you go, was there something I could have said to make your heart beat better? If only I'd have known you had a storm to weather. So, before you go, was there something I could have said to make it all stop hurting? It kills me how your mind can make you feel so worthless. So, before you go." As I released my finger from the last key on the keyboard, the entire concert hall was in a pin drop silence and the crowd was frozen in place. With sweat dripping over my head, I finally needed to take off my jacket as my body was extremely hot at the moment. "Did you guys enjoy the song?" I asked in confusion and intrigue as the crowd was still quiet at this time. Then, they finally snapped out of their state and stood up from their seat before they gave me a thunderous applause. "Edward Newgate! Edward Newgate!" They chanted my name, and I couldn't control their reaction this time any more than one could control a waterfall. The applause went on for almost 2 minutes before I received the signal from the stage conductor that Taylor had arrived backstage. She was getting ready to perform and it was my cue to perform the final song. "Did you guys have fun today?" I asked and received another explosive reaction from the crowd. Gesturing them to lower their voice, I said, "Save your spirits for Taylor. Now, for my final act, it will be a pop rock song, so brace yourself," I said with a smirk. By now, more than 4/5 of the crowd there had imprinted my name inside their mind and they couldn't wait to meet me the next time I would be performing. Third-person POV? "Don't you think he's too good?" Taylor muttered with complicated emotions as she saw the audience's reaction to Edward. The co-writer said in a cold tone, despite being a meek girl, "It doesn't matter. After all, these people came here for you. Not him." Taylor nodded and her mood was lifted. "He's really a prodigy. I'm sure that he will be a top artist in the future. Don't worry. You will become a top artist too. We will make sure of it." Signing with her current entertainment company was no different than selling her soul to the devil. Taylor longed to escape the birdcage she was in and become a free artist, but the more famous she got, the more locks her owner placed on her cage. She couldn't help but be mesmerized by the young boy standing at the center of the stage. A free and talented artist/songwriter that made her heart skip a beat as she saw him casually interacting with the crowd. Why are you still here? Go and get ready," the co-writer said, and then she noticed Taylor's blushing face. "Do you have a fever? Why is your face so red?" the co-writer asked. I'm fine. Just a little flushed. Let's go. Taylor changed the subject and walked to the dressing room to get herself ready. She had made the costume change in the minivan as she was driven to the concert venue. Right now, she only needed to do some light touch-ups before going on stage. Damn Ed. Now I have to work especially hard not to get overshadowed by you. Taylor murmured to herself, but with a sincere and expectant smile on her face. I can't wait for you to grow up, she said as she licked her lips while watching Edward starting his final solo song for today. Chapter 49, Opening Act finished. Part 4. Edward POV. I gripped the microphone tight and took it out of the microphone stand. It's been a pleasure getting to perform in front of you kind folks here today. For my final solo act, I will be performing Believer, a song from my future album titled Breaking. Breaking? Phil muttered. That's the name of his future album, why? Alex heard the question and replied, because he's breaking all expectations people have on him. And also the music charts. Write that down. Write that down. Manny and a majority of the people in the audience hurriedly noted down the album name after I announced it. Write it down too, Harvey. Pepper said. Wait, he's naming the album here for the first time? Harvey asked in disbelief. Yes. Pepper replied. After all of the clamoring, the guitarist strummed the guitar to notify the audience about the start of the song. Then, the entire amphitheater fell into a deep silence as people were holding their breath to wait for the song. I took a deep breath before the drummer hit the drum beat. Without playing the guitar on my own or slinging the guitar over my shoulder, I walked to the edge of the stage. Imagine Dragon Believer. First things first. I'ma say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been, oh-ooh. The way that things have been, oh-ooh. Claire stood up from the seat and shouted, yeah. Edward. Alex was horrified and exclaimed in a hushed tone, Moem. What? I'm just glad. Claire said with a soft smile as she looked at Alex. Second things second. Don't you tell me what you think that I could be. I'm the one at the sail, I'm the master of my sea, oh-ooh. The master of my sea, oh-ooh. Ted smiled and said, I finally inspired him in a lyric. Take back control of your life, huh? Pepper muttered as he heard it. Then, he smiled widely and said, I like it. I was broken from a young age. Taking my sulking to the masses. Writing my poems for the few. That look at me, took to me, shook to me, feeling me. That's us. Cam gleefully said while feeling extra proud inside. Singing from heartache from the pain. Taking my message from the veins. Speaking my lesson from the brain. Seeing the beauty through the... Almost all of the people there held their breath as the song entered the chorus. Pain. You made me a believer, believer. Woohoo! The crowd cheered and stood up from their seats before they banged their heads to the rhythms. Pain. You break me down, you build me up, believer, believer. Pain. The lady wearing a floral dress and a red stiletto shivered as she heard the song, however her large hat covered most of her face. She was biting her lower lips until it was all bloody before the woman next to her realized it. Asked her, Miranda. Are you okay? Camila. I'm fine. Miranda replied. I did a little jump while I changed my position to the left side of the stage. Oh, let the bullets fly, oh, let them rain. My life, my love, my drive, it came from pain. You made me a believer, believer. Is this song about the Lord? Gloria whispered to Jay while asking. Jay looked at her weirdly with a scrunched up face and said, why no? Third things third. Send a prayer to the ones up above. All the hate that you've heard has turned your spirit to a dove, oh-ooh. Your spirit up above, oh-ooh. It is about the Lord. Gloria muttered in excitement. Mom. No. Manny admonished his mom while shaking his head. I'll explain it to you later. Gloria nodded at Manny's words and they focused back on the show. I walked in front of the VIP section and crouched down while waving at them for a second, causing immense cheer from the audience there. I stood back up and continued. I was choking in the crowd. Building my rain up in the cloud. Falling like ashes to the ground. Hoping my feelings, they would drown. But they never did, ever lived, ebbing and flowing. Inhibited, limited. Till it broke open and rained down. It rained down, like. Is he rapping? Luke asked as he didn't catch a word of what I just said. Pain. You made me a believer, believer. The crowd cheered once more until and didn't stop at all until my chorus was done. Jenna finally managed to throw her underwear on the stage while Mrs. Henderson was distracted by the song. Oh my God. Elsa couldn't believe her friend as she saw her take off her panties right next to her boyfriend. Luckily, everyone was too focused on the song to care. The Catholic mother, Mrs. Green, clasped her hand together in excitement and said to Jacob, I can't believe you have another devout friend. This is the type of friend you need to hang out with, not the one who offered you drugs and alcohol. While headbanging his head to the song, the Viking Mr. Green said, why can't he be both? Pain. You break me down, you build me up, believer, believer. Pain. Oh, let the bullets fly, oh, let them rain. My life, my love, my drive, it came from pain. You made me a believer, believer. My breath got quicker as the songs were mentally and physically draining for me to do. With sweat dripping from my chin, I stood at the left side of the stage and continued. Last things last. By the grace of the fire and the flames. You're the face of the future, the blood in my veins, oh ooh. The blood in my veins, oh ooh. Is it the final verse already? Pepper said and said to the young girl beside him. Are you ready? Taylor replied, I'm always ready. But they never did, ever lived, ebbing and flowing. Inhibited, limited. Till it broke open and rained down. It rained down, like pain. You made me a believer, believer. Pain. You break me down, you build me up, believer, believer. Pain. Oh, let the bullets fly, oh, let them rain. My life, my love, my drive, it came from pain. You made me a believer, believer. I held my fist up at the last note of the song while standing at the center edge of the stage with my head lowered. The audience stood up from the seat while applauding and giving me deafening cheers. WOOHOO. Hells yeah. Edward. 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 I smiled and waved at them, and my dad was already drowned by the bras and wet panties thrown into his direction. The crowd cheering wouldn't stop as if they felt reluctant to let me go. I turned to the band member and said, nice job you guys. You did really great, Ed. Jess said while the others agreed with her. Wiping my face with a towel, I turned to the crowd once more but with an acoustic guitar in my hand. I used the stand-up microphone and said, did you guys enjoy the show? They answered with another cheer that drowned every other sound in that area. I waited for them to calm down a little bit, but the cheer droned on for a minute before I could finally get a word in. It has been a charmed evening for me today, I said, earning another wave of cheer from the crowd. And with that, ends my solo part of the evening. I muttered and the crowd went ah, then, I suddenly played another song. After all, 2 is better than 1, right? I said with a smirk as I picked the guitar strings. I started the song by singing alone. Ed, I remember what you wore on the first day. You came into my life and I thought, hey. You know this could be something. The crowd was baffled by my sudden change from pop rock to country song and couldn't help but feel elated inside. After all, another song from me was a gift for them. Ed, 'cause everything you do and words you say. You know that it all takes my breath away. And now I'm left with nothing. Suddenly, Taylor walked onto the stage with a microphone in her hand. The crowd became uncontrollable as she walked in, and they widened their eyes as Taylor stood beside me, facing each other with our eyes locked on one another as we sang a perfect blend of duet harmony. Taylor and Ed, so maybe it's true that I can't live without you. And maybe two is better than one. But there's so much time to figure out the rest of my life. Edward, and you've already got me coming undone. Taylor and Edward, and I'm thinking two is better than one. Oh my God. Lily, the nerdy girl who was a fan of Taylor, almost fainted as she saw Taylor putting her hand on my face as she sang. Jenna narrowed her eyes and said, "That bitch. Is she thinking of seducing Ed?" Haley and Abby also reacted the same way, with narrowed eyes as they saw Taylor running her hand on my arm as she changed place from my left to my right. Oof. He has already moved on, huh? Abby pouted with her arms crossed. No. That skank is seducing him, Haley said in jealousy. Tara looked at both of her best friends in disbelief and said, "It's a performance, you guys." Taylor, I remember every look upon your face. The way you roll your eyes, the way you taste. You make it hard for breathing. Taylor, 'cause when I close my eyes and drift away, I think of you and everything's okay. I'm finally now believing. While locking eyes, Taylor and I chuckled at each other as we thought the situation was funny, and the crowd couldn't help but notice it. She bit her lips as our face drew closer, and the image was displayed on the big screen, causing a lot of people to swoon. Wait, are they? Cam asked. Mitch said hurriedly, "No, Cam. He's 14, she's 19. Cam scoffed and said, "As if that matters in Hollywood." Ignoring the crowd chanting our names together, Taylor decided to share the microphone with me and bring our face inches away from one another, causing the crowd to explode once more. Taylor and Ed, that maybe it's true that I can't live without you. And maybe two is better than one. But there's so much time to figure out the rest of my life. Ed, and you've already got me coming undone. Together, and I'm thinking two is better than one. We sang the song till the end before Taylor kissed my cheek and turned to the crowd. "Edward Newgate, everyone. Give a round of applause for Taylor S." I announced. The crowd cheered explosively, and that was the end of my debut stage. Taylor hugged me and whispered, "Congratulations for your very successful debut." She announced her featuring in my album, and spoke a few words with me on stage before I left the stage in her hands. I descended backstage where Pepper gave me a tight hug despite my sweaty body and said, "You did a good job today." "No, wonderful job today. I'm very proud of you." "Thanks, Pep," I replied as he released me, and I saw Dad standing next to Pepper. "You want to hug me too?" I asked him playfully, and then he abruptly pulled me into his arms and hugged me. "Of course. I too am very proud of you. You did really well, Ed." They walked me into the waiting room where I finally rested my back on the couch and released the tension build up. "Ah," I exclaimed as I drank a glass of warm lemon honey water and Pepper massaged my shoulders. He said, "Your Before You Go song is already copyrighted by us. I didn't want to tell you this before your show to avoid messing with your nerves, but I called a few critics to come to the show." Stunned, I turned to Pepper, who was standing behind me, and said in disbelief, "You did what?" "And you passed their evaluations with flying colors." Pepper continued, not minding my reaction. "We can expect the reviews in the paper tomorrow." "Oh," I muttered flatly. Then, I smiled and said, "Thank you, Pepper. Don't worry about it. You go get some rest. I need to go talk to some people." I nodded at his words before I sat on the sofa again after changing my sweat-drenched outfits. Wearing a tight white shirt that was tucked into my long black pants, I sipped the honey lemon water quietly as I rested my throat and my mind. After 10 minutes of rest, suddenly a few people with backstage passes on their neck barges into my room. Flinching after they opened the door abruptly, I quickly leaned forward to guard against the intruder. "Ed." The Dunphys rushed toward me and gave me a group hug before I could even stand up from the sofa. Following closely behind them were Gloria, Jay, and Manny. Gloria and Manny rushed to the hug while Jay stayed behind and just gave me a thumbs up from afar. "Hey, why don't you guys stay for Taylor?" I asked in surprise as they released me. We came here for you, not her, Phil said while pulling her waist up. But we already got the ticket, so we're only here for 5 minutes before we go back to our seats. Alex exposed Phil. Smiling softly, I said, you guys don't have to do this. Just go and enjoy the show. Nonsense, Ed. We come here specifically to support you, Claire said and sat next to me before she kissed my forehead. I was stunned by her suddenness and then she said, I'm really proud of you, Ed. You have come so far. Thanks. I replied as I didn't know why she was reacting like that. Gloria pinched my cheek softly and said, Ay mi niño hermoso, morenlo toda una estrella, ay mi beautiful boy, look at him, a total star. As I was still sitting, she pulled me into her embrace with my head buried inside her chest before she squealed happily and shook me around. Gloria! Claire stopped her hurriedly before I lost my breath. When are you getting home? Jay asked, unbothered by the ensuing chaos inside the room. After the show is over. I will be joining Taylor for the after party though, so I won't go home directly. Claire raised one of her eyebrows and asked, after party? Where? Third person POV. At the Q&A portion of Taylor's fan meet. Although the majority of the questions were for Taylor, there were still a few questions that baffled her when she heard it, as the fans were asking questions like this. Are you and Edward dating? You know we support you no matter what. Who wrote the song 2 is better than 1? You or Edward? Is he coming to your tour? Or your next show? When can we buy his album? Taylor laughed and said, okay, I will ask him for you guys and tell you about it later. Abby and Haley scrunched their faces as they looked at Taylor before Abby said to her mom, let's go home. She turned to Haley and Tara before saying, are you guys staying till the end? Yeah. We will hitch a ride with my family so you don't need to worry about us. Haley replied. Abby, let's go meet Edward first before you leave. Haley said and grabbed Abby's hand before dragging her backstage to the waiting room. Abby could have resisted and broke free from Haley's grip, but she just let herself be dragged away. Maybe she needed an excuse to come meet Edward, but she still wasn't sure why she was going along with it. Near the backstage, Ted was talking with Camila. Is she gone? Ted asked. With a thick Cuban accent, the woman replied, yeah. She had to rest. So I let her go first. Do you want to come meet him? He asked. Camila widened her eyes and said, wait. Can I? Of course. You're his aunt. You can meet him anytime you want. Camila more on similar face. Edward's POV. As I was walking out of my waiting room, suddenly I saw Haley, Tara, Abby, and Desiree in the hallway walking in my room's direction. Hey! Tara greeted happily while Haley rushed to give me a hug. I was startled as she started running toward me, so I put my hand upward to guard against her, but then, my hands actually landed on her braless chest as she hugged me from my neck excitedly. Ah, soft. I thought as I could feel everything. Haley finally realized where my hand was 5 seconds after hugging me, and she quickly pulled away and covered her chest in a crossed X shape while looking at me in disbelief. Perv. She said. With a zen-like facial expression, I said, it was an accident. I thought you're attacking me. Also, it's very soft. Her jaw dropped and I turned to Abby instead of explaining myself. Hey. I muttered softly. Hey, she replied back, not looking me directly in the eyes. I'm really glad you're here. Well, I promised, so I will be here, Abby replied while turning her eyes slowly to meet mine. I couldn't help myself but approached her and gave her a hug. Thank you. I said. Abby widened her eyes before she returned my embrace while saying, that's what a friend is for, right? Sure. I said while I continued hugging her. Then, Desiree decided to join in and made the hug a group hug. Abby and I laughed at the abrupt action of her mother, and we finally released each other. How's the concert? I asked. To be honest, it could have been better. Abby teased. Yeah. If Taylor kissed my lip at the end, it would have been better, I said, earning a death glare from Abby, Haley, and Tara. Abby replied sarcastically, "Sure, let her commit a crime at the end of the show. That will surely be useful for your debut." I chuckled a bit and said, seriously, "I'm really glad you're here." "Me too," Abby said with a soft smile on her face. "Don't ignore me, okay?" "I won't." As we were facing each other, Haley interjected angrily, "So, when are we going to talk about the fact you copped a feel on my boobs?" What did he do?" Dad appeared out of nowhere from behind Haley, startling her. Nothing," Haley stammered as she turned to my dad. "Dad! Who is that? Your girlfriend? Did you finally get a girlfriend?" I asked teasingly as I saw a hot Latina woman next to my dad. "Also, you have an acquired taste, huh? Stop speaking nonsense. This is your aunt." Dad explained hurriedly to make me stop. "Aunt?" I was confused as I had never seen the woman before in my entire life. Suddenly, I remembered my dad's stories and said, "Aunt Camila?" She hugged me suddenly and said, "I can't believe you know me." Only giving me a quick hug for fear I would be uncomfortable with her, she took a step back after that. "Yeah, from my dad's stories," I said while staring at her face. Camila turned to Ted and said, "You told him about us?" "Of course. Your family," Ted said while smiling softly. I didn't want to burst his bubble and told my aunt he told me about her pickpocket job before, therefore I changed the subject. "Aunt Camila, why are you here?" I asked carefully. She flinched and said, "To support you, of course." I narrowed my eyes at both her and my dad in suspicion before I sighed and said, "Dad. Seriously? If you want to date my aunt, shouldn't you tell me this before you come and introduce her to me?" "We're not dating," Ted said in frustration. Finally, Ted saw Desiree, who was standing next to Abby. It was their first time meeting, and I was sure that there was some sparks between them. I returned to the waiting room with my dad and my aunt while the girls went back to the concert. Abby and Desiree returned home instead of waiting until the concert ended, so only Tara and Haley stayed till the end. As Camila was still awkward around me, we didn't talk too much. Instead, she asked me what I knew about my Cuban side of the family and shared some funny stories about my dad when he first met my grandparents over there. After an hour, the sky had darkened and I was watching Taylor close the show from near the stage. After her final song, suddenly she said, "As Edward had given you guys a present by performing a song from his upcoming album, I think I will do the same thing too." The crowd cheered, and I cheered along in anticipation with them. Then, she changed her tone and said, "But there is a problem. I need some help in playing it, and over here, there is only one person who knows about the song I'm talking about." She turned toward me abruptly and said, using the earpiece without the audience hearing it, "Edward. Will you help me?" "What is she doing?" Mr. Killington asked in frustration after nothing was going to plan in his event today. "What do you need help for?" I asked her back after hearing it through the headphones. "Love story. Doing it the way we played around with it before." "Really? Like that? Are you sure?" "I'm sure." As I looked at Taylor's determined face, I sighed and said, "Okay. I will do it." Taylor smiled and turned her attention back to the audience. "Who do you guys think I need to call on stage to help me?" she asked innocently while putting her finger on her cheek. The audience was confused before someone muttered, "Edward? Come on. You guys just heard his songs minutes ago," Taylor said playfully. The audience laughed before they shouted, "Edward. Call him out until he gets on the stage," Taylor ordered. "Edward. Edward. 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 Edward." Chapter 50, Love Story. Edward POV. The finale of the performance unexpectedly fell into my hands as the crowd chanted my name. "Edward. Edward. 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 Edward." Taking a deep breath, I slinged my guitar over my shoulder and walked on the stage. Pepper and the other stage conductor were a bit too late to try and stop me as I appeared on stage next to Taylor, causing a massive audience reaction akin to a meltdown beneath the stage. "Hey! Why do I hear people calling for me?" I asked in confusion after Taylor gave me a microphone. The audience laughed and Taylor said, "Well, you're the only one who knows how to play my new song." "Ah. That one. I will get paid, right?" I joked, causing the audience to laugh once more. Taylor smirked and said playfully, "No?" I shrugged and said, "Too bad. I wanted to use the money for the new PlayStation. I guess I will have to wait for my birthday present from you then." At the audience seat, the Missouri-born Taylor's fan laughed gleefully as Taylor and I did our whole improvised bit. Cam said to Mitchell, "Oh my god. Oh my god. They're really close to each other. You think Edward can get me to meet Taylor?" "Don't put more pressure on him, Cam," Mitchell said with his arms crossed. Then, he shyly nudged Cam and said, "Ask him if we can both go and meet her." At the backstage, chaos ensued between the organizer and Taylor's staff members. The meet co-writer had changed into a full-blown raging Karen and tried to stop the performance from happening by any means necessary. "This isn't in the contract. Any extra shows will open you up for a lawsuit. Are you prepared to do so?" Mr. Killington sighed and replied, "The decision to play one more song or not is the artist's call. Not ours. However, we also can't let you storm the stage and pull her away just because she is doing something she wants to do." The veteran stage conductor could hypothesize why Taylor was being so abrupt and disobedient right now. "She wants to be free, even if it's just for a moment. I won't let you stop her." Mr. Killington murmured to himself after he asked the security there to stop the teenage pop star's staff from interfering with the show. "Just don't have a meltdown, will ya?" he said as he took out a cigarette and put it in his mouth before lighting it. Back on the audience seat, Haley quickly texted Abby, who had already arrived home, and told her about my last performance. "Seriously?" Abby asked in disbelief as she had already entered her house. "Yes. I will hold the call for you to hear it. Tara will record the performance and we will show it to you later," Haley said as she held the phone in the air while I was still talking with Taylor. As I familiarized myself with the guitar, I said to Taylor, "Let's not waste any more time. I need to get home after this as I have school tomorrow." The crowd booed me playfully, so I turned to them and said, "Remember kids, stay in school, and don't do drugs." "That's so sudden." Taylor laughed together with the crowd and finally the light on the stage dimmed, putting both of us underneath a spotlight. I used a microphone stand to sing as I was playing the guitar at the same time, and Taylor held a microphone in her left hand as we stood together side by side. Love story Taylor. Only my guitar played the melody for the song as there wasn't anyone else around that knew the song. When I asked Taylor why she wanted to perform the song at this concert in the future, she would answer, "I was jealous of you. I longed to be free while on the stage, but I lost all of my freedom after I signed with the agency." This was my first little rebellion against them. Like you, I also wanted to truly interact with my fans as a person, just like you, and not as a fake idol they worship. Taylor swayed her body to the rhythm and we stole a glance at each other before we burst out laughing. The romantic song fans couldn't help but fan their hot faces as they saw us flirting with each other. "Taylor, we were both young when I first saw you." I close my eyes and the flashback starts. I'm standing there. She suddenly walked toward where I was standing, pulled my face that was watching the crowd with her finger, so that I would look at her, and continued, "On a balcony in summer air. Kaya." The crowd let out an uncontrollable cheer as she did that, and even my heart couldn't help but skip a beat as I watched her in her performing mode up close. I smiled while looking at her as she continued, "See the lights, see the party, the ball gowns. See you make your way through the crowd, and say, 'Hello? Ed, hello?'" We acted as if we're performing a musical, and without missing the beat we harmonized our voices. Ed and Taylor, little did I know. Without us realizing it, our voices perfectly melded together, stunning the crowd below and the crew backstage below. I let Taylor sing while I harmonized with her using our own playful lyrics. "Taylor, that you were Romeo, you were throwing pebbles, Ed, I was Romeo, I was throwing pebbles. And my daddy said stay away from Juliet, Ed, and your daddy said stay away from Juliet. She pointed at me while saying Romeo, while stepping back a few steps as if fearing her dad before she reached her arms at me from afar. And I was crying on the staircase begging you, please don't go. Taylor, and I said. She ran towards me while stopping inches away from my face before singing. Both Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting, all there's left to do is run, you'll be the prince and I'll be the princess, Ed, I'll be the prince and you'll be my princess. Both, it's a love story, baby, just say, yes. Taylor returned to her Ini Tal spot while I become the lead singer this time. Ed, so I sneak out to the garden to see you. We keep quiet, 'cause we're dead if they knew, Taylor, 'cause we're dead if they knew. Together, so close your eyes. Ed, escape this town for a little while, oh oh. Taylor's cheeks couldn't help but blushed red as we gazed meaningfully at each other while some of the audience members had tears in their eyes. Wiping his eyes with a handkerchief, Cam said, no, Romeo and Juliet. Why? There are no good endings for them. Ed, 'cause I was Romeo, Taylor, I was a scarlet letter. No oh. Lily, Taylor's fangirl who asked the question before this shouted as they didn't want the bad ending to appear. But it was drowned by the cheers of the other fans. Ed, and your daddy said stay away from Juliet, Taylor, and my daddy said, stay away from Juliet. Together, but you were everything to me, together. I was begging you, please don't go. Taylor took back the lead and sang while I harmonized with her. Taylor and I said, Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. Ed, I'll take you, if we really need to be alone. I'll be waiting, all there's left to do is run, Ed, I'll try everything, till there's you in my arm. You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess, Ed, I'll be your prince and you'll be my princess. She curtsied at princess while I responded to her as a prince. Taylor sang alone as she grabbed my arm, it's a love story, baby, just say, yes. The audience went ballistic and was on the brink of losing their mind as they saw the performance. The innocent and impossible love between Romeo and Juliet had imprinted deeply inside their minds. Haley couldn't help but struggle internally as she saw the performance. She wanted to stomp away and leave, but she wanted to see the entire performance too. Jenna on the other hand was biting her nail as she saw me flirting with Taylor on the stage. Without anyone noticing, she was mumbling, gasoline. 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 Pepper couldn't help but ask himself, did he practice this performance with her before? How did they hide it from everybody else? However, the dancers and Taylor's staff knew that this was nothing more than an impromptu performance by the two artists. On the stage, Taylor couldn't help but to be mesmerized by her partner in this song. She was transported into a different dimension where there were only two of us, and she was wearing a medieval gown while I was a medieval prince. With a hint of begging in her tone, she said, Romeo, save me, they're trying to tell me how to feel, Ed, my love, I'll save you, you'll know exactly how I feel. Together, this love is difficult, but it's real. Ed, don't be afraid, we'll make it out of this mess, it's a love story, baby, just say, yes. I was confused by her silence, therefore I gestured to her with my eyes, but she wasn't responding and kept gazing at me with googly eyes. Ed, oh, oh. I proceeded with the electric guitar solo as the light on the stage changed into that of a starry sky. Taylor finally snapped out of it and walked to the front of the stage, singing alone underneath the spotlight. Taylor, I got tired of waiting, wondering if you were ever coming around. The screen showed my face, so I pretended to be torn inside, which caused the audience to shout once more. Taylor's tone carried a hint of sadness while she sang the next verse, my faith in you was fading, when I met you on the outskirts of town, and I said. She finally turned to face me, and I slowed down the rhythm while she sang emotionally, Romeo, save me, I've been feeling so alone. I couldn't help but feel her genuine emotion in that song. It was as if she wanted me to truly save her. I let her sing alone as I locked into her eyes. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. I stared at her while keeps playing the guitar notes. Is this in my head? I don't know what to think. Suddenly the music stopped. What is happening? Mitchell asked in confusion and frustration. No, it can't be. Cam widened his eyes as he saw the next part as one screen showed my face while the other screen showed Taylor's. Kneeling on one knee while slinging the guitar to my back, I pulled out a ring from out of nowhere. It was actually the prop ring for my previous outfit that I kept in my pocket after taking it off, and showed the ring to her. Taylor cupped her mouth and ran towards me while I held the ring with one hand and took it from me. I stood back up quickly while facing her and picked up the guitar tempo and played the uplifting part while I sang strongly to Taylor. Ed, marry me, Juliet, you'll never have to be alone, I love you and that's all I really know. I talked to your dad, go pick out a white dress. The crowd held their breath as I sang the last part. Ed, it's a love story, baby, just say, yes. Taylor was frozen in shock before barely managing to compose herself, yet it seemed like she just blurted out the yes. And hugged me. The crowd cheered manically as we hugged and I could sense the stage vibrating from their cheer. A little dust fell from the ceiling and some light swayed, which scared me a little bit. I whispered to Taylor, finish the song. As we hugged. Finally, she snapped out of her own delusion and composed herself. Taylor, oh, 'cause we were both young when I first saw you. Taylor and I looked at each other before we bowed at the crowd together. Good night, everyone. We said together before the curtain closed amidst the cheer of the audience. Third person POV. Question: what was your favorite part of the concert today? Getting interviewed by the college reporter outside the stadium, Mitch and Cam thought for a while before Mitch replied first, well, definitely the artists. And the song game, that was legendary. Cam chuckled and then he said, definitely the proposal. I cried a little bit dash. Mitch interjected, he cried a lot. Cam glared at him before he continued, their performance really showed up the definition of two world lovers. The innocent country girl and the mature city boy, brought together as fate wills it to be. Cam, they are not dating. Mitchell said in exasperation. A young boy replied, definitely the song. Believer. Then, he sang a line from the song childishly, pain. You break me down and build me up, believer, believer. The initial, brunette college girl who was the first to throw their underwear at Edward said, I came here for Taylor, but I will leave here with Edward in my mind. Question: do you think Taylor and Edward are a couple? Cam, yes. Mitch, no. Young boy, you. Brunette, definitely. He is at least 16, right? Haley said seriously, no. He's not a couple with Taylor. Both Tara and Haley would be hitching a ride with Cam and Mitch as the rest of the family had gone home after Edward's initial performance. Question: will you come to the next Edward Newgate's concert? All of them answered, definitely. At the concert backstage, Taylor was admonished by her co-writer after her improvised performance with Edward, before one of her staff members came in with urgent news. What? The co-writer asked. The song, the duet, the male staff member was having trouble catching his breath as he ran toward the room before this. Spit it out. The co-writer yelled. It's trending on YouTube. What? The co-writer exclaimed in confusion before the staff member took out his phone and showed that the song had gotten 50,000 views in the matter of 1 hour. In early 2009 YouTube, the views had pushed the video to become the top trending video in America at the moment. See, it wasn't damaging my image. Taylor snarked sarcastically as she heard that while the co-writer gritted her teeth. The entertainment agency couldn't say anything as the video was trending worldwide in the matter of 1 day, and became the top-liked video of the week. Now if you'll excuse me, I have an after-party to attend to. Taylor said before she left the room with just her bodyguards and not her publicity staff. She stopped by the door before she turned toward the staff and smiled, you guys are not invited. Taylor. The co-writer tried to protest, but the artist had already walked away. Damn it. The co-writer cursed before calling the agency to pass the full report to them and give her thoughts about the current situation. Just let her be. The voice from the other side of the call said. But sir. The co-writer tried to protest. Let her enjoy the day while feeling superior, it will help us in controlling her later in the future when she realizes she has no other choice but to crawl back to us after the party is over. Ah, yes sir. The co-writer said. Anyway, keep an eye on the Edward kid. Any scandals, any criminal history, or bad records that we can use to as leverage, blackmail, for him to sign with us. Edward POV. I stretched my arm upward as I felt extremely tired after the show. I had finally managed to sneak out of the concert hall without getting surrounded by the fans and was already on my way home. Why don't you take a nap? Dad suggested as I sat in the back seat. Sure, I said and took out my phone before reading messages from Jacob and the troublemakers, Haley, Abby, and Pepper. Dad, you know that I will be going to the after party, right? To be honest, I don't like you going over there. But you've worked really hard for this concert, therefore I will give you my permission. Be careful while you're on board. If there is any trouble of people offering you drugs or other harmful substances, go to Dwayne quickly. Relax, Dad, it's a boat party, not a rave. I replied with a yawn. I know, but I am worried regardless. Dad said in a soft tone. Okay. I will take care of myself. I said before I laid down sideways on the seat and fell asleep. Midnight, at my house. I had managed to catch 2 hours of sleep on the way home as we were slowed down because of a traffic jam. Taking a duffel bag with some toiletries and clothes inside from my room, my dad drove me to the marina. Luckily, we only took another 10 minutes to get there as the road was clear this time around. Hey Ed. Kaya and Anna called out to me from aboard the ship as I stepped foot on the port. I waved at them, and they waved back to me. The LED light from the ship illuminated the surroundings, and I could see that the party above the ship had already started. I turned to my dad and said, "Thank you for your support today, Dad. I will go now." Dad suddenly hugged me and said, "I'm really proud of you, Ed. Now, be careful at the party, alright?" I will. I patted his back twice before he released me and I walked into the ship. The ship horn blared twice before the ship started its journey to international water. The 80 meters long ship slowly exited the marina before it disappeared on the horizon. That wraps up this part of What If Karmic Gacha System in Modern Family World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. For the part 10 of the series What If Karmic Gacha System in Modern Family World, there are 2 versions. One is just the text-to-speech, regular, version, and the other is with the songs, alternative, version. Now I need to know which version should I use going forwards. As such, just like for everything else, I would like your opinion on whether I should continue with regular version or the alternative version. I have created a poll for this, so please vote in it and let me know which version we should use going forward. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.